from Estadio Caliente in Tijuana, Baja California. This is Liga MX Soccer coming to you in English via your SAP function on Azteca San Diego. My name is Nate Abaurrea, joined by my broadcasting colleagues Ivan Orozco and Jordan Caruth. It's the super leaders of Liga MX, the first place Xolos Quintles of Club Tijuana. Winners of 4 straight in league play after losing their opening match 2-0 to Morelia. It seems like ancient history since that 2-0 loss in Michoacan. 4 straight wins for the red and black of Baja Los Xolos. And they look to make it 5 in a row this evening against the visitors from Aguascalientes. It's Necaxa coming in with a 1-1-3 record. And 15th place is where Necaxa sits in the 18-team standings. We bring you the starting lineups now. First off, for the home side, the aforementioned super leaders of the Mexican top flight in this round 6 of this 2017 Clausura campaign. Pretty much the same starting lineup as last week's 4-2 win over León in Guanajuato. Xolos really rectifying all sorts of wrongs and correcting all sorts of things in regards to a house of horrors that is Estadio Nou Camp in León, winning that match 4-2. One change and one change only. Michael Orozco not in the starting lineup, replaced by Juan Carlos Nunez. So from goalkeeper out to the back line, we start with Manuel Lahoud, who has started every game in goal for Xolos this season with 2 clean sheets to his name. 5-man back line from left to right of Damian Perez, Victor Aguilera, Juan Carlos Topo Valenzuela, Juan Carlos Nunez, and Paul Arriola outright. They call Paul a right back from time to time. Look for him to be jetting up and down that right wing and being a strong attacking presence this evening, scoring his 2nd goal of this young season last week in León, Paul Arriola, the American international and the native of Chula Vista, California. Guido Rodriguez and Joe Corona. Joe Corona, another San Diego native, in the starting lineup for Xolos. Look for Guido and Joe to be holding down the center of the park. Victor Malcorra positioned just ahead of them. And Aviles Hurtado and the big man up top, number 9, Milton Caraglio. That the front line for manager Miguel Herrera and his first place at Xolos. On the other side, for manager Alfonso Sosa and Necaxa. And a great story, Alfonso Sosa, a man who managed a plethora of clubs in the lower divisions from 2011 to 2016, getting his first big league job with Necaxa in 2016. It's a struggle at this moment, but still plenty of time to turn it around for the young manager. Great player in his own right, former Mexican international Alfonso Sosa. His lineup goes as follows. It's exactly the same as last week's 1-1 draw against Monterrey. Marcelo Balavero in goal, 4-man back line, starting from left to right of Jairo Gonzalez, Marcos Gonzalez, Mario de Luna, Severo Mesa, and a 3-man midfield of Xavier Baez, Luis Gallegos, and Manuel Iturra, and a 3-man front line of Edson Puch, Claudio Riaño, and Jesus Isihara. Look out for number 22, Edson Puch. These Chilean forwards, they're coming into the Mexican League with intent. And Edson Puch was a man who Mexican fans know all too well. He was on the field for Chile at Levi's Stadium back in June of 2016 in that infamous, some would call it, 7-0 victory for Chile en route to the Copa America final win for Chile. That 7-0 win against Mexico and Santa Clara back in June of 2016. Mr. Puch was out on the pitch that day. He's out on the pitch this evening for Los Rayos of Aguascalientes, Necaxa. They are attacking from right to left in this first half in the black and white stripes. Xolos in the red tops, the black shorts, and the red socks, defending the goal to our left. For the play-by-play, I give you Mr. Jordan Caruth.
Nate, thank you so much. Welcome to it, Estadio Caliente, ready to go. It is another packed house here tonight as we get ready. The prayers are being said right now as both sides ready to go. Fans continue to filter into Estadio Caliente, and we are underway. These are 2 clubs, guys, that are definitely a little bit different on the table. Club Tijuana, as mentioned by Nate, currently top of the table. And on the other side, going up against a club that currently ranks 15th out of 18. It's very early in this season, but no team is hotter than Club Tijuana right now in all of Mexico. Winners of 4 straight. A win tonight guarantees them first place for the rest of the weekend. So here we go, minutes in, as Club Tijuana will work from all the way in the back, near side, with possession. Nunez. He'll send it to Corona. Corona looking ahead. He'll lay it off to Hurtado. Hurtado finds Arriola. Arriola lays it back in towards the inside. And Club Tijuana working with something special early into the center of the box. This will be close to being cleared, not quite cleared. Second opportunity misses, and they're just going to have to send this one out. We'll bring in Ivan Orozco to the broadcast right now. Ivan, this should be a fun one here tonight.
Good night, good evening, everybody. Yeah, it should be an interesting match. Two teams that are facing each other for the first time here at this stadium. They faced in the first division. They faced each other here in the Copa MX and in previous tournaments, but first time ever here in the top-notch league in Mexican soccer. So we'll see how this goes here. Club Tijuana with a corner kick early. National Malcorra about to take it.
Yeah, Malcorra will take the corner. Caraglio had it inside the box. It was well defended, but now a corner kick is set up for Club Tijuana. Did not take long for the Xolos to have their first opportunity. They already had one decent one. Now the corner kick. This was likely to be their best opportunity yet. The only question at this point, who's going to take it? They'll just lay it off. Now into the center it goes. Arriola's near it, but it's cleared. It will stay with Paul. He heads it back towards the box, not going far. Necaxa with it. Close to a handball, no. It will stay with Tijuana. Looking for Corona. Here's Arriola. He slips, goes down. Provides the thumbs up, but it is a turnover for Club Tijuana. Necaxa quickly taking it in. Hear the Massacre in the background. They're ready to go. They've had fun at home so far this season. Lots of fun being had last year at Estadio Caliente, last season that is. And it has carried over despite the losses of some big players, including Dairo Moreno. Necaxa now with it just outside the box. And Tijuana able to defend well, now pushing things forward. Perez with it. And an early foul.
Jordan, as we look down and see Guido Rodriguez getting this thing back underway. Talk about Milton Caraglio having an early opportunity, and both of these teams, as we've seen many times before in this league, the center target forward on both sides, a native of Argentina, and look for both of those players to play very similar brands of soccer this evening, and look for their teams to try to get similar things out of their big Argentine center forwards. Caraglio on the Cholo side, and of course Riaño for the visitors from Necaxa.
Right, we know Milton Caraglio is a large weapon there in the middle of the field with players coming in, sending crosses from left and right. We saw that goal that he scored against Chivas on a run from the left-hand side of Paul Arriola cross. So look for that tonight. And Piojo likes to use those wingers and try to send those crosses in the speed that he has on the outside.
And it is looking like early on, Jordan, that we have basically what will evolve into a 4-4-2 throughout much of this game. Xolos obviously saying they play with a back line of 5. That's how a lot of people like to refer to it. But what happened last week against León, when Michael Orozco had to come out of that game injured, when Carlos Nunez came into the game, Piojo essentially switched it to a 4-4-2, and Paul Arriola suddenly had loads more attacking freedom, way more ability to fly up and down the wing and provide so much in the Xolos attack. He ends up getting a goal in that game, was really instrumental throughout the entire game, and scored the clincher in what ended up being a 4-2 victory for Club Tijuana. So look for Paul to maybe have a little bit less defensive responsibilities than we've seen in other games this season. Look for Paul to really flourish in the attack this evening.
Into the midfield it goes. They're trying to work it forward, trying to break through that last layer of defense, and now back towards the midfield. All the way to the back line. Gonzalez with it. Gonzalez to Gonzalez, all the way back to the keeper. And he'll try the far side this time. Definitely a contrast of styles between these two clubs, fellas. Club Tijuana, high energy, like to score lots of goals. The other side has a tendency to kind of make sure that the game is low scoring, we'll put it that way. Hurtado can't keep possession. Early possession has been split. Tijuana, though, already with the corner. Rodriguez will send it all the way back.
You talk about Necaxa being a low-scoring team. shut out in their first 2 matches this season, a 1-1-3 record coming into this game, Jordan. They've scored at least 1 goal. They've scored 1 goal to be exact in all of their last 3 games. They are 1-1-1 in those 3 games, the most recent one. An entertaining, it should be said, 1-1 draw against Monterrey last week. Had a chance to watch that game in its entirety. It was quite entertaining, and Necaxa very much had a chance to win that game and could have walked out of their home stadium with all 3 points against Los Rayados of Monterrey, but had to settle for the point at home. And again, in the last 3 games, a 1 goal to their names, a 1-0 win against Pachuca, 3-1 loss away to a suddenly resurgent Pumas side, and that 1-1 draw against Monterrey last week. Look out for Caraglio here, my goodness.
They are up against it today at Estadio Caliente, tonight that is. A team that likes to score lots of goals. Club Tijuana winners of 4 straight. 12 points on the season, 4 wins with a 1 loss. No draws yet for Club Tijuana.
Right, and in that 4-game win streak, Tijuana has outscored his opponents 12-4 into that 4-game win streak. So we'll see if that continues here today. Undefeated at home as well.
When I love that stat, 12-4 in these last 4 games. 10 of those goals came in 2 of the games. 6 against Puebla in the home opener, 4 on the road against León. Sandwiched in the middle of that, showing the versatility of this team, something that has to bring a smile to the face of Miguel Herrera. They won 2 real grinded out 1-0 victories on the road at Estadio Chivas, taking down the big giants in Guadalajara, and then coming back here and playing against Cruz Azul in a game that you and I were calling, Jordan, and you remember throughout much of that game, Cruz Azul were very easily the better side. Look out for Avilés.
Hurtado has a chance to put this in the back. It just missed.
Looks like he pulled a muscle or hurt himself on that play.
Hurtado is in a lot of pain right now. So you go from thinking potentially for Club Tijuana the opening goal. Now you're looking at a potential injury to one of the star players. He is holding his left knee, it appears. We will not speculate here, but a bad sign early on for Club Tijuana.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Jordan.
Could be a break of the leg there on this left leg. It looks like it bent underneath the goalkeeper's leg.
And that's Avilés Hurtado coming off of last week's game in León, where he was, to put it lightly, very lucky to not have a serious injury in that game. What ended up being the play that drew the penalty that Avilés ended up stepping up and scoring himself to tie the game at 1. This is not pretty. This is not good. Parts coming onto the field. Xolos are likely going to be without arguably their best player throughout the season in this 2017 Clausura campaign. We get a chance to see the replay again here, Jordan, and you see Hurtado's leg get caught right underneath the scissor there. Both legs of Balovero. Nothing intentional from Balovero. He's coming out trying to prevent Avilés Hurtado from scoring, but we see that freeze frame right there, and that is just something that you never, ever want to see, and this is just a huge loss for this Tijuana team.
His left leg gets trapped between both legs of the keeper.
He is up.
Which,
the way that leg bent, though, it looked like it could be a serious injury.
Well, this is Avilés Hurtado. Again, I go back to that challenge that drew the penalty last week in León, and people during that broadcast were saying, oh my goodness, that's a leg-breaking challenge. That could have been a straight red. Suddenly Avilés was up and took the penalty and scored, and now we see Hurtado waving off the cart, Jordan, walking this off pretty much under his own power. Remember the training staff walking alongside him. Avilés just limping towards the side. I mean, as tough as they make him in any league, in any world, Avilés Hurtado surely looking like he was underneath a serious injury there. We'll see what happens now. My goodness.
And now he's jogging along the touchline. Well, that was a roller coaster for Club Tijuana fans, thinking they had the opening goal, then thinking potentially a major injury to a major player. And now he is jogging. Just talked to Miguel Herrera. It looks like he wants to come back into this one. First, though, Club Tijuana have a corner. Joe Corona is down there. Here we go. Corona will take the corner, sends it into the box, headed towards the net. Another header just going to miss. Valenzuela had an opportunity for his second goal, and now another injury inside the same box.
Offside flag actually up here on the near side, but it was Caraglio originally getting up there with they call it a nice banana run there, curling that thing way back and getting his momentum back towards goal. Valenzuela
clearly offside.
I mean, Look at Milton right there. There's 3 Necaxa defenders, and he manages to make contact with one of them, who's actually the center forward, his fellow Argentine center forward, Claudio Riaño, up there taking the brunt of that challenge to the face from Milton Caraglio. But that's Milton going up against 3 Necaxa defenders and winning that header. I mean, that's playing to the man's strengths, without a doubt. We'll see if Caraglio can get one this evening and channel that positive play that he had, the winner that Ivan references against Chivas, which was quintessential Caraglio-style play. Caraglio also scored the go-ahead goal in León last week from the penalty spot after Aviles Hurtado won a second penalty in a matter of just a few minutes in that game. Good performance from Caraglio last week in León, and see if he can get one with the head this week. Get back to what he knows best.
Nate, you bring up Hurtado. Good news for Club Tijuana fans. He is back on the pitch, and he is continued. It looked bad, but he's already back playing. Arriola with some space, sends it towards the center of the box. Hurtado just missed. 2 opportunities early on for Hurtado. Tijuana's still scoreless, but they're going to keep battling here inside the box. Arriola had space to work with. It was a good pass, and Hurtado just missed his opportunity.
Could see it happen in slow motion. I could see Paul thinking, I'm just going to hit this thing low and hard to the far post. If I scuff it a little bit either way, it might go to the far post of the shot. It might scuff back as a cross. It went instead right in between. And if Aviles is literally a step behind the pace that he was at there, he surely taps that one in. Instead, he's just ahead of it, the timing off by just 1/10 of a second. And Xolos, again, agonizingly close to the opening goal.
Yeah, Arriola rolled the dice there. Almost came up with a goal. Corona now with it.
Well, and that's what Piojo wants him to do. That's what Miguel Herrera has just been harping on with Paul Arriola, saying, you have a chance to take guys 1v1. You have a chance to get something into a danger area. Go for it, buddy. You got my blessing to do it anytime you want. And if you go at somebody and, hey, they stand you up and they make a good defensive play, you know what I want you to do the next time you're in that same position? Do the same thing again. Be bold, be brash. And it's been an experience for Paul Arriola, and here he is having to get back defensively, something that he needs to be conscious of.
Dicing through the defense of Club Tijuana. Here's their best opportunity. Necaxa inside the box with possession. Puig with it. Now they'll work it back outside the box, looking towards Puig once more. Back in, headed away. Hurtado's near it. His knee seems to be okay as Hurtado goes down.
It should be said, Jordan, we're really hearing the name Edson Puig for the first time in these opening 13 minutes and change on this Friday night in Tijuana. And Puig, you talk about Necaxa having a very compelling performance last week at home against Monterrey. Edson Puig, there are a lot of people saying he was the worst player on the pitch for Necaxa, and with everything that he is for this team, they cannot afford to have him be the slumping player out there. And I don't want to be too harsh on the opening few touches that we've seen from Puig, but he just looks a bit sluggish out there. He is a player that can wake up, be that sleeping bear type player where you wake him up and suddenly he's going off, he's on fire, but he's just been sluggish of late, and there's just this slow motion quality about him, and we'll see if that changes this evening. Necaxa are going to need him here this evening.
Absolutely, they'll need him for any type of goal-scoring opportunity. Russ could play a factor here tonight. Nunez had just gotten an earful from Miguel Herrera. He was looking for Arriola, and the pass went out. That was moments ago. Back to live play. Nunez will throw it in. He'll go back with it. And now Tijuana will try to push it forward. Hurtado's there. He heads it forward. Looking for Caraglio. Arriola runs back. Corona's there as well. Good defense there from Club Tijuana. Arriola near side, right in front of his manager. He goes down, almost falls onto the feet of Miguel Herrera, and is right back on his feet, pushing forward. Corona comes away with it.
Well done, Paul Arriola. Loses it, gets it right back for his team. That's the tenacity that Piojo wants to see. For that whole sequence to happen just a few feet away from your manager, that is just fantastic.
Marcora. This is going to be another corner for Club Tijuana. They've already had a couple, one on each side. And now another opportunity for the Xolos. Corona will run over.
Redes sociales ilimitadas desde 199 pesos con planes Telcel Max. Sin límite, Telcel, la mejor red.
We see the tall defenders coming into the 6-yard box, outside the 6-yard box, looking for that header. Look for Milton Caraglio to charge in on this corner. So is Emanuel Aguilera is also in that area.
Well, look out for Guido Rodriguez as well. A sneaky suspicion about Guido here.
Into the box it goes. Another potential header. This one just misses. Caraglio with it. And it looks like Valenzuela may have picked up a knock. As we look back at
actually,
it.
Topo Valenzuela taking a knock from Milton Caraglio and then slamming into a Necaxa player at the end of it. That was a brutal couple of seconds there for Topo Valenzuela, and affectionately known as the Gopher down here in Baja California. An interesting storyline this evening as far as a man in attendance for this game between the first place and 15th place sides and Liga MX. You have two Juan Carloses in the back line for Xolos. We'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah, Tijuana here with a great opportunity right in front of the net off the post. It missed again. Club Tijuana almost with their first goal for what is almost the third time.
Malcorra.
How are they scoreless?
Unbelievable. Victor Malcorra. You thought he was going to center it. Thought he had Balavera creeping off the near post, and I think he caught him out. We'll see on the replay here. He caught Balavero cheating here, said, I'm just going to take this thing near post. How he snuck it through that angle was mind-boggling, and it was inches away from going in for the opening goal. Look at this again. Malcorra looking center, and then says, no, I'm going near post. Manages to sneak it by Balavero, but the post says not so fast. We're staying goose egg apiece.
Shot on the other side will go over the bar. I don't know what was more dangerous for Club Tijuana on the other side, the initial shot or the deflection off the post, because there were two Club Tijuana players who were close to it. They just weren't expecting any type of rebound there.
It's one of those things with the way this early part of this game has gone. You start thinking, okay, it's only a matter of time. Then you get a couple more of these chances. You think, okay, is it just one of those nights where this stuff is going to be commonplace for 90 minutes? We're going to struggle to find the back of the net.
Time will tell there, as we are just under 20 minutes into this match. Week 6, Liga MX. Club Tijuana at home here. Packed house once again, as you would expect.
And again, going back to one of the honorary attendees, shall we call him, here this evening, said there were two Juan Carloses in the Xolos back line, with Juan Carlos Valenzuela, affectionately known as Topo, and of course Juan Carlos Nunez wearing the number 22. One Juan Carlos Osorio, the Mexican national team manager, just arrived to Estadio Caliente about 20 minutes ago and is in attendance somewhere in this ground as we speak right now.
Caraglio swings and misses.
And that's big, having the Mexican national team manager fresh off of a 1-0 win midweek in a friendly out in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mexico defeating what should be said was a Iceland reserve team. Mexico playing with a number of pretty much a completely non-European based roster. Very similar to the U.S. January camp that we just saw here in San Diego with that game against Serbia for the USA. Mexico defeating Iceland 1-0.
All that said, a record crowd in Las Vegas. Hurtado with it.
Fantastic crowd in Las Vegas, should be said, Jordan.
Right, we'll see Juan Carlos Osorio is here. How many of these Mexican Xolos Quincles can we take a look at tonight? Not too many of them on the pitch, but nonetheless, he's here and get an idea to see what his players are capable of doing.
You know, our good friend Tom Marshall from ESPN FC, and someone who's really been a heavy mover in the idea of getting English language coverage of Liga MX as a commonplace, brought up a very interesting idea regarding Aviles Hurtado after his performance, his exceptional performance against León last week, and that is that Aviles is someone who is coming up on potential Mexican citizenship, potential full naturalization, obviously born and bred as a Colombian, and he is a Colombian at heart, but doesn't play for the Colombian national team. And Tom Marshall floated the idea that we've seen with other players in the past. I think of Chaco Jimenez and other players recently from Argentina, and maybe Aviles Hurtado could follow in the footsteps and be the first Colombian to suit up as a Mexican naturalized player.
Malcorra is out there. Never know who's going to take it. This one will sky into the Massacre.
Malcorra, not one of his finer efforts there. That one goes high into the stands. Victor Malcorra has really been a breath of fresh air for this Xolos team. As we see on the replay here, was Aguilera standing over it. Remember back in that home opener against Puebla, that 6-2 game, it was 4-2. Xolos had a free kick late on in that game, and it was Malcorra and Aguilera standing over it. Malcorra managed to But a beautiful free kick in to make the score 5-2. Joe Corona scored a very special goal just a couple of minutes after that to wrap that one up with a 6-2 scoreline. But Malcorra's been deadly from set pieces this year. That, not one of his finer ones.
Could be deadly here. Club Tijuana, though, coming up. Good defense. Corona now with possession.
Look out for Hurtado streaking out here. He wanted it.
Arriola out wide. Hurtado in front. Arriola continues to push it. Lays it off to Hurtado. Hurtado into the box. Far side. Caraglio gets close to it. Was able to get a deflection.
Mighty nice ball there from Aviles Hurtado. Milton Caraglio. Not really a whole lot he could do there. Had to go for the spectacular. There was really nobody waiting in the center. See on the replay here. Hilton would have loved to have been able to maybe nod that thing back across. Unfortunately, there were no runners there. Caraglio to work with. Had to go for something crazy and just didn't come off exactly the way he planned. We have seen some spectacular movement with the feet high in the air and bicycle kicks and overhead tries from Milton Caraglio this year. Scored one in that 6-2 win against Puebla. Was not the prettiest bicycle kick you're ever going to see. It goes down as one just the same.
Estadio Caliente singing right now. Arriola not able to pick up possession as this one will go all the way to Miguel Herrera. Not exactly who they wanted to pass to. Necaxa throws it in. And we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, guys. No Michael Orozco tonight due to injury. What does that do to this team?
Puts Juan Carlos Nunez in a position that he was put into about 20 minutes into that game at the new camp last Saturday night. And, you know, don't want to ever be too harsh on a player like Michael Orozco who did nothing wrong. He played a decent 20 minutes, had to come out with injury. But what Juan Carlos Nunez's insertion into the game, we talked about this in the opening, it allowed Paul Arriola to move up and really be the attacking presence that he can be for this team. And Nunez just held down his post, tucking out wide from time to time as a right back, being able to move into the center as a right-sided center back. And Paul Arriola, who looked like he may have been fouled there. No whistle comes, though.
Arriola goes down, stays down.
Allowed him to attack. We'll obviously see if Paul's going to be able to get up and play here. Looks like he's going to be all right as Aviles wants to slow this thing down. Now he's saying, let's go. Do I have to kick it out? Checking in with the Necaxa players saying, can we just restart this thing? I love it.
They'll just pick up and go from here. Arriola.
Fantastic.
Nunez, Corona.
So he takes a foot to the left, cleats to the left, ankle in there.
Hurtado looking for Caraglio.
I just want to go back there moments ago. That was just backyard soccer as it gets. That was fantastic. Hey, Paul's on the ground, sees the team in possession, gets back up. Do we need to kick this thing out? It's become the commonplace, the sporting thing to do. Well, Aviles kind of looked up, checked in with a couple of the Necaxa players and said, we're good. Go ahead. Start it back up. No need to stop this thing. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
And it was another threat for Club Tijuana. They've had a couple moments in this first half.
207.8.123.153.
That was on Malcorra there. I think Paul did anything too bad there. Malcorra's just got to be able to trap the ball.
Malcorra just missed it. So Tijuana on the defense. Necaxa with it. On the far side. This trickles into the box, but no threat.
Flag up there on the far side from the assistant.
So a busy opening 25 minutes, although Club Tijuana is still scoreless. Both sides still scoreless. You almost feel like it's a win after seeing what happened to Hurtado go down with that potential injury. Tijuana must feel blessed getting through that. Nunez now. Corona. He'll chest it down. He has Arriola to his right, but he'll go left to Hurtado.
Look out for Damian Perez out wide right now.
Hurtado's going to jump on it. He has Rodriguez to his right. Hurtado working back towards the middle. It's exactly who he gives it to. Rodriguez. Now Arriola on the near side. Working back towards the center. He does center it. Going to be a little bit too far. Necaxa comes away with it. They'll try to keep possession. They'll do just that. Now pushing things forward. Good defense. And headed back to Arriola. Back and forth we go. Arriola tried to beat his man with speed. Arriola showing off that speed. Pass into the middle of the box, just misses, and it's going to clear all the way through into the backside. But Arriola showing off the wheels right there to create anything.
I mean, going straight at a defender. Again, anytime someone 1v1, Piojo has told him, you go. And it's got to be one of those feelings, Piojo going, wow, I ask and I shall receive. Look at Milton Caraglio fighting to get this thing back right now. But a very, very good start to this game for Paul Arriola. A dangerous weapon out wide. His 6th consecutive start here in the opening 6 matches of this Liga MX campaign. 2 goals, 2 assists, but it's more than just the numbers, more than just the stats. It's those lung-busting runs up and down that right wing. What he offers this team, the threat that he poses at all times down there, really coming into his own, seeing so much maturity develop for that young man. And I'll tell you what, he keeps playing the way he's playing come March and the return to the hexagonal for the United States men's national team. Look out for Paul Arriola, the pride of Chula Vista, to be a part of that U.S. men's national team for those critical, and I mean critical, World Cup qualifiers against Honduras and Panama on March 24th and March 28th.
You know that is a big goal for Paul, trying to make that roster. He has really taken his game, it seems like, to the next level here this season so far.
Right, and you heard Bruce Arena talk about him in the post-match news conference.
207.8.123.153.
Misses. Kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, that could be how Necaxa get one tonight. Just kind of out of nowhere and just pressing out on a counter real quick. And using, you see the gritty style of Riaño in this game, and that attack came from Riaño. It came with a simple Route 1 football flick-on header from Riaño, and was Pooch trying to get on the end of it there in the end. The shot was well wide, but that all started very similar to how we've seen Xolos get, quote-unquote, goals from nothing over the last year, especially this season, playing down the middle through Milton Caraglio and going old school and playing through the flick-on header from the big target center forward. They both happen to be Argentines tonight.
Rodriguez laid it off to Corona. Well said. We'll try to push on the far side. Looking for some space to work with. Now swung in towards the center, towards Hurtado. Doesn't quite find Hurtado.
I think we've had a lot more creativity from this team as that collision, again, draws no whistle. Love Jorge Rojas this evening, really letting him play out here. Very few times have we even heard the whistle from the center official.
Seems like the only time we actually stop is for a potential injury. And even then, with Arriola, you don't even stop the match. Arriola with it near side. Showed off his speed a little bit earlier. Now he loses possession. Herrera will tell him what he wants them to do in the future.
Now there's a little redemption there from Jairo Gonzalez, who got absolutely torched the last time he was 1v1 with Paul Arriola. And when you're a defender in a professional soccer league like this one, the way teams like to play direct and really go at you, you got to have a short-term memory in the best of ways. And that's exactly what Gonzalez had on that occasion, saying, might have burned me a few minutes ago. That was ancient history. Standing you up this time.
Goes to the back line. Now they'll try the far side. Yeah, we've seen both sides really try to attack offensively in different ways. Club Tijuana have tried near side. They try setting it in far from the mid. They're attacking in several different ways. As we approach the 30-minute mark, we'll hand things over. Nate Abarrea will take over play-by-play.
Thank you, Jordan, again. His name is Jordan Caruth. My name is Nate Abarrea. Ivan Orozco along with us, high above the playing surface here at Estadio Caliente. 0-0 affair as we hit the 30-minute mark. Xolos have certainly been the superior side. The scoreboard does not show any superiority, unfortunately. Xolos have been agonizingly close to scoring on a few occasions. Here's Nunez pressing forward. Gets back to the inside, flicks through to Milton Caraglio. This one's going to peel back to Joe Corona now. San Diego to San Diego. As Paul Arriola is out wide again, going head-to-head with Jairo Gonzalez, and Gonzalez getting the best of him that time as well. Joe Corona again on it. Corona Heading back to the middle, Guido Rodriguez. Haven't heard a whole heck of a lot from Guido this evening. That could change as this game wears on. Decent ball into Milton Caraglio. Good job by Milton getting back up. Maybe not the right place to whip one in with the left foot there. He tries going for the shot. It deflects, and eventually Jairo Gonzalez is going to boom this one out. Not exactly the prettiest methodology in terms of Necaxa and manager Alfonso Sosa, but we'll see what comes of it here. Lahoud comes out and collects this one. We've played 31 minutes against scoreless here at Estadio Caliente.
Lahoud, a name we haven't mentioned very much tonight. And Necaxa not pressing all that much. But Lahoud, we haven't talked about his presence. First season as a starter with Club Tijuana, and pretty impressive the last 5 games.
We talked about Manuel Lahoud. Necaxa actually have a big opportunity here for Ruiz Hijara. Ruiz Hijara's ball through for Puig. He's well off the mark. Good encouragement there from Puig, turning back saying, I like the idea. The execution, not exactly a fan of. We'll work for better next time. We're going back to Lahoud. 2 clean sheets in 5 games this year. He's also given up 2 goals each in the other 3 affairs. The 2-0 loss to Morelia, the 6-2 win against Puebla here in the home opener, and last week's 4-2 win against León. Again, a couple of clean sheets mixed in there, and some top-notch saves as well. He has not been called upon seemingly nearly as much as Federico Villar was last year for Xolos. Guido Rodriguez trying to break down the stingy Necaxa defense. Paul Arriola thought about going at the defender there. Elects to play out wide. Aviles Hurtado. Little 1-2 game between Arriola and the Colombian number 18, Aviles Hurtado. Has to feel very blessed to be out on the pitch right now after a frightening injury scare in the opening few minutes of this game. Edson Puig for the first time positioned out on this near side, the attacking left side for Necaxa. Again, finishing up on Lahoud, a man who really thought he was going to be the starting goalkeeper last season, Jordan. And Federico Villar, everybody thought he was going to retire and be gone and kind of fade off into the sunset. Not so fast, said the 39-year-old long-haired Argentine, and Federico Villar ends up having arguably the best season of his entire life.
And that was the big story with it as well, Nate. Not only was he going to be there, he was the keeper. He had an amazing season, and they do hand things over. I mean, I feel Club Tijuana in good hands in net right now with Lahoud. But you're right. Last year, a little bit of a surprise, but not a bad surprise with the way it works.
Well, that was Lahoud also coming off the 2016 Olympics in Rio, where he was not the first-choice keeper, but just to be a part of that Mexican Olympic team. That could be a foul against Joe Corona. Not the smartest play there from Joe. Not the most dangerous position for Necaxa, and relatively straight on. It's going to be difficult to whip in any kind of direct cross here, but Corona was coming straight through the back of Ishihara there. I beg your pardon, that was actually Gallegos getting taken to the ground. Necaxa, see what they're really going to commit forward for this set piece, and we'll see if the man that we're speaking about over these last couple of minutes, if he is called into action here, number 25, the young Mexican international, the Olympic veteran, Manuel Lahoud.
You were wondering how long it would take Puig to kind of shake off the rust coming back from his injury, and it appears he is still shaking off that rust 30 minutes in. That's not to say that he can't do anything the rest of the match. He just needs one special moment.
He chips this one into a danger area. Lahoud with a real difficult assignment. A foul was called in the area.
Gonzalez was in there. Had a defender all the way with an opportunity.
I love the idea there from Puig. It's so difficult to play one from that straight angle. Lahoud, not the most comfortable man in the world on that occasion.
Yeah, looking back at that replay, that was a really good opportunity. Probably the best opportunity yet.
It's all that you can really do from that angle. Go for something delicate. It's exactly what Puig did.
Just inches away from a deflection. Any type of deflection right there in front of the net likely would have resulted in a goal.
Does that bring up the question that should Necaxa continue to try to push through with Puig and use him a lot more?
Well, we've seen him switch sides, Ivan, here over the last 5 minutes. He is positioned out left now on this near side from our camera angles here in this first half in Estadio Caliente. So look out for Necaxa to try to get things through number 22, but also look out for just more of the same through Claudio Riaño. Target forward, the Argentine number 19. Topo Valenzuela cuts back on this thing. Goes out wide to Paul Arriola. His fellow San Diegan Joe Corona calls for it. He receives it. Takes the first touch, dips back in. Arreola and Corona playing quite a bit of cohesion out there. Back to the stick that stirs the pot. Guido Rodriguez tries to find his fellow countryman, Milton Caraglio. Passes a little off the mark, and it's picked up by Balavero. 36th minute. 0-0. Chances have died down a bit in this game since a wild and rather frantic opening quarter of an hour, even opening 20 minutes. The shot saw Xolos come agonizingly close on a handful of occasions, including Victor Malcora hitting the post, going near post against Balavero from a very tight angle, and almost sneaking it in for the opener. Aviles Hurtado came oh so close a couple of times. Here's Nunez getting himself into all sorts of trouble. Lahoud's got to be smart here. He's one right back into the center to Aguilera. I'm sure Miguel Herrera is just loving every moment of that. I kid.
And as soon as you say that, both arms went straight up into the air on the touchline.
Nunez out wide to Arreola. Nunez, the replacement for Michael Orozco, 20 minutes into that game at the new camp in León last week, but ended up as a 4-2 win for Xolos, playing from the start, replacing the American international Michael Orozco. This Friday night, back home in Tijuana, Guido Rodriguez gets a second bite at the cherry there with his pass. Aviles Hurtado receives from Joe Corona. And Malcora well off the mark in the end there to Aviles Hurtado. And since that post hit near the quarter hour mark, Malcora has not looked the sharpest knife in the drawer. Certainly looking for better as this half wears on and as this game wears on. Those are going to need every bit of contribution from Victor Malcora. Talked about him being a real breath of fresh air this year, being a strong bench presence last year, a guy that could come off the bench. And see Milton Caraglio try to chest this thing down, and Malcora was lurking over there on that far left side. Joe Corona comes flying in, wins the header, and then fights to help Guido Rodriguez get that back. But unfortunately, Joe's guilty of some sort of infraction, at least according to Jorge Rojas. And it's a free kick for Necaxa as we approach the 38-minute mark.
So our viewers tuning in San Diego right now, you may notice the artificial turf here at Estadio Caliente. You will not see that throughout Mexico, but you do see it here. Ivan, you've seen plenty of clubs come through Estadio Caliente. How difficult is it for them to adjust to this type of field when they don't really see it all that often?
It's difficult for them to adjust the way the ball rolls, the way it bounces. That's one of the first things they talk about when they step on the pitch and they see the video of other players here, other teams that played here. So that's the first complaint. And the other is they wet the pitch right before the match. So that changes it also for the visitor side. So for a while, the players just didn't like playing here, but now they're trying to get a little bit used to it. But definitely it makes a difference for them.
Remember the first time I came to the stadium and I asked one of the groundskeepers about why they water the turf before the game, and he said it's to help the turf grow.
Well, it helps grow
Naturally.
to help the home team. That's probably what he's talking about.
Victor Malcora standing over this one. Look for Victor to whip one in with his left foot. Yobeni Corona, San Diego native, over it with the right. Look for Yobeni.
Second stint with the club.
It's Malcora with the left. It's a decent service in. It's headed on goal. Getting the full body behind it is Balavero. You talk about Joe Corona in his second stint with the club, Jordan. What a story it was. As we see the replay here, we try to see who got on the end of this thing. Looks like it was Aguilera. May have been Aviles Hurtado. I beg your pardon. It was Hurtado. See the service in with the left foot from Malcora. And Aviles putting a decent attempt on goal, but strong goalkeeping there from Balavero. Strong step up there from Damian Perez, who surely was fouled. The Xolos fans can't believe it. Damian Perez with a brief conversation with a couple of the Necaxa players as he tracks back defensively. I said, you got to be kidding me. Back now with Jairo Gonzalez. Edson Puch out here on this near side. Back to the phenomenal storyline that is Joe Corona's resurgence with this Xolos team in a second. Joe Corona winning the Liga Ascenso title in the winter of 2016. In Sinaloa, the Golden Fish, Los Dorados, coming back to First Division play. Back to his first club. Played as a youth product as a late teenager. Became the first Xolos youth product to score a goal for Club Tijuana. Did that in the Liga Ascenso, did that in the second division. Then was the ultimate claim to fame, scoring the first top-flight goal ever for Los Xolos Quintles in 2011. Aviles Hurtado trying to score the most recent top-flight goal for Los Xolos Quintles. And again, for what's got to be the third or fourth time this evening, Aviles Hurtado is no more than a few feet away from an easy tap-in, just off the money there, that ball from Victor Malcorra. Ball could have been better. Aviles Hurtado just a little bit too far from it.
Or maybe could Hurtado's run been better. Looks like didn't get the knee lift that he needed to get to that ball there. Maybe the injury is coming into play now.
Well, could be having a bit of a nagging effect. See as much intensity from Aviles Hurtado since that real nasty injury scare early on in this game. Lahoud's got to come out and some no-nonsense defending here as he moves that one clear with his feet. Malcorra's going to give chase. This one is going to get knocked down to Damian Perez. Perez forward to Caraglio. Caraglio tries a first-time flick through to Damian Perez. And the Demon runs out of real estate, but Xolos are going to win a throw on the far side. Real quickly finishing up, though, Jordan, Joe Corona scoring the 6th goal of the night back in that home opener. A night of celebration here at Estadio Caliente. The 200th match ever played here in all competitions. Just days after the actual to-the-day 10-year anniversary of the founding of this club. And who better to score the final goal on that night than the homegrown product, the San Diego/Tijuana native, everything that Joe Corona represents, waving off the penalty claims here. It's Jorge Rojas. Milton Caraglio going down in a heap.
I would love to see this one again as we do go back to the replay.
Legs may have gotten tangled up there. You see, coming in.
That one is close.
Is that enough for the PK, though, at this stage of the match?
It would be a bold decision to give him the PK, but I would not be surprised if you give a penalty for that. That legs get tangled, I know, but he lost his opportunity there with possession.
You see Caraglio, it was De Luna actually coming in there from behind. It was just a tangling of the legs. Caraglio did seem to go down rather easily, and I love Caraglio and De Luna right now as this ball's out of play, just having the same type of debate that we're having up here in the booth right now between themselves.
It was close.
I wonder which side, which man is on the argument there.
I wonder.
This one cleared out. Into touch by Aguilera. Hurrying that one a tad. May have had more time than he realized. We're approaching the halftime break. Jordan, what are you thinking Miguel Herrera's team talk is going to be like as this Xolos team has come agonizingly close to scoring a handful of times in this first half?
Although it is scoreless, it's tough to be too frustrated if you're Club Tijuana because you have been presented with opportunities, you have created opportunities, you have gotten corner kicks, and you've hit the post. The rebounds have been close. You survived an injury scare. Everything has almost happened except for a goal so far for Club Tijuana. A little surprised that it's scoreless on both sides as both clubs have had their opportunity.
Aviles Hurtado pokes to space. Talk about that nagging injury maybe having an effect. Aviles does a phenomenal job chasing that thing down. Thought he was fouled down there in the corner. Again, no whistle from Mr. Let Him Play, Jorge Rojas. And Aviles Hurtado is down in a heap. Necaxa just want to continue playing. Aviles Hurtado is not affecting the play. So Jorge Rojas, again, says, let the boys play. And Necaxa continue their push forward as Aviles Hurtado way away from the play gets back to his feet. Topo Valenzuela clears out towards the midway circle. Get a chance to see this challenge again, and Hurtado just taking a little scrape across the right foot there.
Well, he came up holding his knee. It was his right knee this time. The left knee was the first potential injury, the scare early on right in front of the net. This time he comes up holding his right knee, and he is slowly jogging back.
Well, that is
but the good news, he's back on his feet.
Well, that's something, again, at halftime we'll keep an eye on, and we'll bring you come the start of the second half, seeing if Aviles Hurtado continues in this game. 2 added minutes here in this first half.
And a missed opportunity there. Arriola just did not see Hurtado, who was wide open. Miguel Herrera yelling for Arriola to throw it to him. Hurtado was jumping up and down, not something you normally see on the pitch. He wanted possession. He wanted the pass. Arriola just didn't see him.
Arriola's pushed forward now. Joe Corona with time and space forward to Aviles Hurtado. Joe Corona again on it. Back to the Colombian number 18, Aviles Hurtado. Corona. To the big, tall Argentine in the center of the park. Former River Plate man, Guido Rodriguez. Malcorra with a far too heavy touch. Nearly commits the foul on Puig there. Malcorra not with one of his finer 45 minutes. Or, well, you could say actually a decent opening quarter of an hour, but since hitting the post early on in this first half, Malcorra has been less than his stellar self. Certainly bringing some frustration to the face and the brain of Miguel Herrera. We've played a minute. They scheduled 2 additional minutes here in this first half. Flick forward there. Malcorra has got Paul Arriola out in space. Good job finding him. Good job getting it to him. Aviles Hurtado's got to get on side. Paul Arriola wants to go on goal. Puts it far post. And again, it's wide of the goal, but not wide enough to get to the feet of Aviles Hurtado.
I don't think Hurtado realized that he was in an offside position throughout the entire play.
Aviles Hurtado, had he been closer to that ball, would have been flagged for offside. He was offside by at least a couple of yards.
Was Arriola looking for Caraglio on the backside on that play because he knew that Aviles Hurtado was offside? Could have been that.
Just off the mark. Either way, but again, Paul Arriola going at a defender, and it looks like after this goal kick is put into the air, we could hear the halftime whistle from Jorge Rojas. We do. We've played 45 minutes plus 2 additional. The first half has concluded here at Estadio Caliente in Tijuana, Baja California. Scoreless at the break between the first place Xolos and the 15th place side from Aguas Calientes, Necaxa. We'll be back with second half action in English via your SAP function exclusively here on Azteca San Diego. Again, your halftime score, Club Tijuana 0, Necaxa 0. We're back after this. Welcome back in to Estadio Caliente, Tijuana, Baja California. Second half underway. Friday night lights in Baja. It's Xolos, it's Necaxa, it's scoreless as we get the second half underway. And a common sight in that first half, a trend continues in the first few seconds of the second half. And that's Aviles Hurtado getting knocked to the floor. Aviles Hurtado with a horrible injury scare early on in this game, and he's been the brunt of some serious challenges from Necaxa throughout this game. Visitors from Aguas Calientes not shying away from the physicality against one of Xolos' best attacking threats. Necaxa were very much the inferior side as far as possession goes and attacking opportunities in that first half. They have a corner kick less than a minute in to the second half. Edson Puig over to take it. My name is Nate Abaurrea, joined in this broadcast booth here at Estadio Caliente by Jordan Caruth and Ivan Orozco, coming to you with exclusive English language coverage via your SAP function on Azteca San Diego in San Diego County. Pleasure and a privilege to be with you. Milton Caraglio, center forward, back helping out defensively. Minute gone here in the second half. Necaxa with really as much attacking presence in the opening minute of this second 45 as they had in the entirety of the first half. But Xolos, with all the opportunities, all the possession, diddly squat to show for it, Jordan.
That is true. Scoreless for now. I do expect to see at least one goal here in the second half. I would be surprised if this one finishes scoreless. And one of the questions that we've had, or that we did have going into halftime, has been answered. We did not know if Hurtado would be healthy enough to go for the second half. He went down with the left knee. That looked painful. That looked like it could have been something major. And then later on in the first half, Nate, he went down with the right knee. He was able to get up slowly once again, so you were at least questioning whether he'd be ready to go for the final 45. Hurtado is out there, and he might play a huge factor in this one.
Ever since that injury, Ivan, you were the one who brought this up, that initial injury to Hurtado, or what we were thinking was a quite serious injury at first, and pretty much everybody in the stadium was thinking the same thing. He has not necessarily looked like his explosive self, and that player especially that we saw last week in Guanajuato at the new camp in León in that 4-2 victory where he was without a doubt the man of the match. the explosion hasn't necessarily been there. And you see not the best touch there from Aviles, but he gets this one back, Ivan.
Right. Well, we know that he might be in some pain, and riding through the pain as he's sprinting around, dribbling the ball here on the left-hand side. But it's difficult for a player to continue running at the speed he wants to when the body doesn't let you because there's pain. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the match here.
I'm with Ivan on this one. His pounce seems to be a tick slower. And that is something that makes Hurtado so dangerous, able to pounce on these loose balls in the box, able to pounce on it right in front of the net.
Well, it was the scare that we referenced, the first one. It seemed like his knee really got wrapped up and leg got bent the wrong way between the legs of Necaxa goalkeeper. You see right now in the neon goalkeeper strip, Marcelo Balavero. And it was on a play, interestingly enough, as Jordan brings up what Aviles Hurtado does so well, an errant back pass that saw Balavero have to fly off his line to defend it, and Aviles actually got to it first, pouncing on the loose ball, pouncing on a mistake from the Necaxa back line, and on that play actually came inches away from scoring. The opening goal for Xolos is this flick through beyond Balavero, actually went just inches wide of the right post in front of La Masacre, and it went from Xolos thinking, all right, we're going to go up 1-0 to not only are we still scoreless, but it looks like one of our best players may have just suffered a serious injury. And somehow, some way, Hurtado is gutted through. He's still out there right now as we approach the 50-minute mark. Well, just on a foggy Friday night in Tijuana, Jordan.
Just watching Hurtado right now, he does have a limp to himself right now, so we'll see how long he's able to go. Once we do see a sub, he is a likely candidate, no question about it. And not only is Hurtado dealing with what is a limp, he is expected to roam all around this field. He is not just in one set position. They like to use him all over. And if he's coming up a little bit gimp on a couple of these, that's going to be a huge effect going forward. We'll find out if he needs to be subbed off at some point here in the second half.
Guido Rodriguez in the center of the park. Looks for Paul Arriola. Paul, back to Guido. Aguilera stepping up. He's got the demon out wide here left. Damian Perez heels it back to Milton Caraglio. Caraglio to Aviles. Good one-touch football from Xolos. Milton Caraglio on his left foot. Cracks. It's deflected. Malcorra now across the face. Played with the feet. Somehow trapped and then collected. And then sharing a hug with Aviles Hurtado is Marcelo Balavero. That was as unconventional of a play from a goalkeeper in this position as you may ever see. The calm as ever foot trap with the right boot there, and he reaches down, picks it up like nothing ever happened. And then gives a nice hug to Aviles Hurtado. Talk about beautiful moments this evening, guys.
I wonder on that play, too, why Aviles Hurtado didn't charge at the ball like he typically does. So I'm sure he would prefer to do that than give the hug, but I don't know how much the injury is affecting him, but he stood there and watched the ball come to him instead of charging towards it, where you typically see a striker or a midfielder attack the ball in that area instead of waiting for it.
He looked real happy with the hug, I thought.
Hurtado goes with the hug probably because he's happy that his knee didn't collapse on that one. We've seen his knee go, and both knees throughout the match. He's happy that he's still upright.
Well, and we're talking about the man who saw Aviles Hurtado's knee wrapped up between his legs. That was Marcelo Balavero. That injury scare early on in this game. So good to see those two. Obviously, there was nothing malicious in that challenge way back when from Balavero. Just a bad coincidence. Necaxa now with a dangerous opportunity from the set piece. This one floats to the far post. It's going to be sack lunch for Lahoud as he comes out to collect this thing. Rolls out to Joe Corona. Aviles Hurtado, maybe not with the explosion that we're used to, but he gets a beneficial touch off the referee, Jorge Rojas. But now a foul is going to be called against Milton Caraglio. We look to that Xolos bench Jordan brought up. The potential for an early substitution. A likely candidate to be pulled off from this game would be, obviously, Aviles Hurtado. Xolos actually played a match midweek as we get a chance to see that beautiful moment, that hug between Hurtado and Balavero one more time. Oh, just a beautiful, beautiful moment here.
Valentine's Day is a few days away.
Hey, there we go. You know, they'll be sending each other Valentine's cards. It's absolutely beautiful. Balavero and Hurtado. There you go. It all started on a Friday night in Tijuana.
I have a feeling both clubs are going to have fun with that in the film studies.
That is going to be interesting. Real quickly, going back to the substitutions, it should be said that Xolos played a game on Tuesday night, albeit a game that did not feature hardly anybody that is out on the field right now. It was a Tuesday night friendly against the Los Angeles Galaxy, a game that yours truly and Ivan Orozco had the privilege of being in attendance for, and a number of other Xolos staff members making the trek up to Los Angeles for that one to cover the team, and had a great time up there. The game ended 1-1. It was a fantastic atmosphere in the rain on a Tuesday night at the StubHub Center in Carson. It was Xolos playing with mostly their reserve side. A couple of first-teamers played in that game, made brief appearances, and a couple of guys who were really looking to impress. Miguel Herrera actually played nearly the entirety of that match, and a game that ended 1-1. Again, a fantastic atmosphere up there. The preseason opener for the Los Angeles Galaxy as they get ready for their MLS season get underway. Jermaine Jones, the U.S. international midfielder, playing his first game in a Galaxy uniform that night, wearing Jones 13 on his back, something that fans in L.A. are very used to. It's just a different Jones 13 here in 2017. Of course, referencing Kobe Jones, the great U.S. men's national team player, but
who was up in the booth for that, calling the game.
Who Jordan had got to listen to for the entirety of that game, as Jordan was watching back on TV here in San Diego, or watching in the studio at the Mighty 1090.
That is true. That was a fun one to watch. Now, if you think about it in the future, Club Tijuana may not have to go all the way to Carson for friendlies. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, they may only need to go to San Diego.
They could have a second friendly up in L.A. with LAFC. They could potentially, in a few years, as Jordan says, have a MLS team to play against here in San Diego. But real quickly, finishing up on what that game meant for a few different Xolos players, there were a few individuals, there were 3 individuals in particular who played substantial minutes in that game, guys who have not played all too much in this Liga MX campaign early on in the 2017 Clausura, guys who were big money imports for Xolos, and 2 of them had struggles with injury. One had a long battle with injury and got back towards the end of last year and has been eligible for every game, has been on the bench for every game this season, has played sparingly. I speak of Henry Martin, wearing the number 11 on his back, but the 2 players who are new, the newest members of this Xolos team, who got to play their first nearly complete matches in that friendly in Carson back on Tuesday night, and Juan Lucero and Jorge Ortiz both looked rather impressive. It was tough to judge too much on that game, a midweek friendly against a Galaxy team that was in preseason form. But look out for Ortiz, Lucero, and Henry Martin to maybe come off the bench in this game, especially if Aviles Hurtado, as Jordan referenced, could be the first one to come off from his position. Caraglio tries to knock down for Aviles Hurtado. Hurtado thought he was obstructed. Instead, he's called for the foul, turns back and says something to Jorge Rojas, and Rojas says, "I got something to say to you," in the form of a yellow card. Get a chance to see the replay here.
I don't know if it warrants a yellow card.
I'm not sure if it was the challenge that actually spawned the pulling of the yellow card there from Jorge Rojas. May have been something that Aviles Hurtado turned back and said, something that we are probably not able to repeat here on this broadcast.
We have a crowd mic. Our mics aren't that loud, though. Right. Which is probably a good thing. And now there's another reason to potentially sub out Hurtado at some point here in the second half.
Hurtado nursing a couple of nagging, I want to call them injuries, but again, injury scare early on in this game, and the nagging presence, those challenges he was the brunt of, continue to carry on with him as we're 11 minutes and change into the second half. And now, as Jordan says, on a yellow card, seems quite likely that Aviles Hurtado will be the first Xolos player to be withdrawn by Miguel Herrera. We'll see if Lucero, Martin, or Ortiz are summoned from the Tijuana bench.
You know, Nate, you talked about those just 3 players you just mentioned that got some action in that match against the Galaxy. Well, another player who just arrived and got action right away is Matias Pizarro, who's actually scored the goal in that 1-1 draw via PK. So he sees his first match, first cap, gets a goal. So we'll see if he gets a chance later on in the future. Also, one of the defenders on the roster for Coach Herrera.
Malcora goes for a little tres dedos action, trying to chip that one into the center area. It comes off far from how he may have intended. Malcorra went through a real struggle since hitting the post early on in this game. We'll see this again on the replay here. Maybe we don't want to see that on the replay there. Real quickly, going back to Matias Pizarro and that goal for Xolos. It was a wild opening, actually. The first 9 minutes of that second half saw both goals. Xolos equalizing after the Galaxy had taken a brief 1-0 lead. Pizarro scoring from the penalty spot, slotting it home with the left foot, and sending the traveling Xolos fans, and shout out to the Xolos fans in the Los Angeles area who were out in big numbers for that game, rooting on the Xolos Quintles of Club Tijuana. And one of my favorite banners, going down there and checking out the scene down there with the Xolos fans in Carson on Tuesday night. La Masacre San Bernardino. San Bernardino with the chapter of La Masacre. You gotta love it. Shout out to all the good folks up in the Inland Empire. Aviles Hurtado somehow gets this one back. Malcorra does a mighty nice job winning it. Joe Corona thought about pulling the trigger there. Instead, a little nifty dribbling, and now it's shot, and a mighty fine save in the end of it from Marcelo Balavero. That was one of the finest moments of the night. It came from Joe Corona. He thought he might shoot. He said, hold on a minute. I got a couple of tricks in the bag. Slices, dices, cuts by a couple of defenders, rips a very nice one there with the right foot, and a fantastic sprawling save in the end of it from Marcelo Balavero. Necaxa not out of the woods just yet. It's Malcorra and Corona, two men over this here on the near side. Either be Malcorra whipping out, swinging with the left foot, or Corona trying to whip one in. It's the Prior, it's Malcorra, and it's not the best service. It's the little demon, Damian Perez, heading back to Nunez. This one works almost all the way back to Lahoud. Instead, it's Guido Rodriguez in the center of the park.
To go back to Corona's run there, that was pure class. Able to beat two of his defenders, going back and forth. Goes left to beat one, right to beat the next, and then instead of taking the shot initially, he beats those two defenders, and then when he does finally pull off the shot, it's on target. It was a great shot. It was good goalkeeping as well, but pure class from Joe Corona.
It's the type of play that Joe Corona is known for creating at midfield through the years here at Club Tijuana. And that's what Piojo likes about him. Likes to put him there. Knows he's a player that can play the ball, knows the technique, and knows how to find people on the field.
It's not taken long for Joe Corona to develop some cohesion. Obviously knows a number of these Xolos players from his time with the club, but a lot of new faces since Joe Corona was last with this Xolos team for a full season. Obviously had some injury struggles in 2013, 14, and then went out on loan to Veracruz and eventually to Sinaloa. Knows Paul Arriola quite well. They pretty much grew up together.
Yeah, Ivan, you can speak to this. Joe Corona coming back for his second stint, now under Miguel Herrera. He has played, Joe Corona has, for some big-name managers here for the Xolos, and Miguel Herrera just one of them.
Right. Antonio Mohamed is the other big name who he won a title with. And not only here with Tijuana, but also on the national team level. You know, being able to be part of the Gold Cups of the Year's national team, also being with big-name coaches. But you're right, here with Tijuana, he had some top-notch big-name coaches.
Here's Ishihara getting hassled by Guido Rodriguez. Guido thought that he'd want to throw for Xolos. It's now down into this near side. Severo Mesa. Miguel Herrera actually getting a brief little warning there from Jorge Rojas. Xolos 0, Necaxa 0. We're 16 minutes into this second half. Manuel Lahoud collects the ball, and my broadcasting colleague Jordan Caruth is going to collect the play-by-play microphone and take you down the home stretch for the rest of this match here between Necaxa and the host, Club Tijuana.
Nate, as always, an amazing job. Here we go for the final 30 minutes at Estadio Caliente. We remain scoreless. Goals could still be had, though, here at Estadio Caliente. Both sides have had their opportunities. As Club Tijuana with possession now, playing without Michael Orozco, dealing with that injury. So a little bit of a change. Necaxa, they go with the same lineup that they had last time. So no changes for them. Hurtado appears to still kind of be stumbling around a little bit with those injuries. You can tell he's going to be the one that needs to come off at some point. A little surprised he's still out there.
At some point, I'm thinking now.
I'm with you on that.
Well, he's some physicality down there from Aviles, right on cue. Good turn there by Joe Corona.
And Corona will send it up. Ariola.
Balance by Ariola on that play.
He goes down. Official right in front. No whistle. Corona now with it. They'll come near side.
Telling you, Jorge Rojas is Mr. Let the Kids Play.
I'm all for it. Absolutely. Perez. Malcora. Into the box. Headed away. Necaxa will try to get rid of it. They'll do just that. Handball potentially here. Play on.
No need for whistles tonight.
Every time someone looks over, play on.
Caraglio making a meal of that one, grabbing the face. The elbow looked to have barely glanced side of the head there. Malcora nearly getting that one in to the head of Milton Caraglio. And you don't want to say Xolos are a little complacent, but when you see them start to really resort to just getting crosses into Milton Caraglio, and not that that hasn't been a route to success this season, not that that hasn't helped to win games this season, but this team can play creative football with the best of them, and see them kind of resort to this cross-first mentality. It's a tad disheartening from a football purist point of view. A fantastic defensive contribution from Joe Corona and Victor Malcora, again with a poor touch as this one goes off his shin and out of play. But, very curious to see when the fresh legs are going to come on and what those fresh legs could do to energize this Xolos team, because it is looking a tad complacent right now. We are seeing Route 1 football through Milton Caraglio, which very well could end up with a winning goal for this Xolos team, but let's see some play down the wings. Let's see some intricate passing. Look out for Necaxa here, Jordan.
Flag stays down. The opening goal just like that. Club Tijuana going to be playing from behind. It came out of nowhere. Necaxa up by one. Right in front of the net. They're able to slide it home, and the visiting fans happy in the corner of Estadio Caliente.
Unbelievable. It was the center man in the middle there, Claudio Riaño. Talk about Argentine center forwards making a difference this evening. What a ball initially there by Riaño, and it comes back to him, and he slots it home. That is absolutely gorgeous there. Riaño with the blind back heel to find Iturra. Iturra gets it back across the face, and what does Riaño do? He finishes what he started with a textbook finish, tucks it away from Lahoud. Absolutely nothing that the Xolos netminder could do. A touch of class straight out of the top drawer. That was magnificent from Riaño. Necaxa 1, Xolos 0. An uncharted territory for this Xolos team at home this season.
And that play started with that Malcora not being able to control the ball after Joe Corona stole the ball there. So that mistake there led to that throw-in that led to that play there. So we'll see how the Xolos can capitalize on this, if they can come back and make a game out of it.
Opening goal comes 65 minutes in, just in front of it. And now Miguel Herrera and his first place side playing from behind at home against a team that is 15th on the table.
Again, Jordan, the first time they've had to play from behind all season here at Estadio Caliente. Of course, it's just the third home game. Still, those other two, I beg your pardon, seen them never trail.
It was quite the sequence to get that goal. Well deserved. And now Tijuana look to respond. See how close we are to a couple substitutions on both sides potentially.
I mean, that was one of those moments there. I love the celebration. I mean, Riaño almost looked like he was blushing. It's one of those moments as a footballer that comes off. I mean, even the pass alone comes off, and you're feeling swaggy out there. You're feeling good about yourself. Ariola feeling confident right now.
With the speed, Ariola sends it into the box, and this one is going to be headed towards the line. No corner here. But a team in Necaxa who has been known to be able to lock it down defensively, now's their time to do just that.
Riaño able to get on the end of that thing, laying that 1-2. It ends up being a 1-2 that started the back heel to Iturra.
Hurtado, and a corner coming up for Club Tijuana.
Victor Malcora is jogging over to take this thing. It's going to be Joe Corona and Victor standing over it. as we've seen customarily from this Xolos team, forcing the Necaxa players to come over and be honest near the corner flag. I wouldn't be surprised if Victor Malcorra is a player that is withdrawn from this game at some point. We'll see what he can contribute here. He tries to whip one in with that left foot of his.
Here it comes in from Corona, just above the initial header. Tijuana, though, will keep possession.
Great job by Paul Arriola there. Got away with a lot of contact. May have been guilty of a foul. But again, Mr. Let the Kids Play swallows the whistle, and Xolos continue to attack.
You never know what side of the field Arriola will be on. Near side this time. Into the box, an opportunity. Oh, so close for Club Tijuana. What a chance. It's not the first time tonight that they've had an opportunity like that. This one ends the same way all of them have, without a goal.
Oh, what a ball from Paul Arriola. What a flick there from Yobeni Corona. Offside flag. It looked like went up in the end of it, though. So had Caraglio been able to get on the end of that, it wouldn't have counted. And I got to be honest, I'm not sure. We saw in the replay there, I do not think that Caraglio, I should say, was offside there, but it wouldn't have mattered had he been able to get on the end of it. But I'm sure Caraglio, relatively relieved to actually see that the offside flag was up, because he didn't even whiff on it, just unable to really put any solid effort towards finishing that. And it's a play where Milton Caraglio just likes to eat those as a snack. Unfortunately, we talked all about the likelihood of Malcorra or Aviles Hurtado coming out of this game. Jordan, it's going to be Paul Arriola.
Surprising move here, fellas.
To say the least. It is a man that we talked about, Juan Lucero, who played in that friendly on Tuesday night coming into this game. He'll go straight out to the right wing where Arriola was positioned. And considering what he offers this team and the way they're having to chase the game right now, yeah, I'm quite surprised that Arriola is the first man withdrawn. And as we see the game that Victor Malcorra has had tonight, we see the limps of Aviles Hurtado combined with his yellow card. Quite surprised. Paul Arriola is the man withdrawn there with the first substitution from Piojo.
Tijuana a little bit in an awkward situation. Hurtado, a guy that you would think would come off, but they're down a goal now. They need their playmakers out there. They need someone to be able to score. Paul, though, is someone who has shown that he can score this year, so a little bit of a surprise move here by Miguel Herrera. Dancing on the far side, keeping possession, into the box it goes, and cleared.
Well, talking about playmakers, that was straight on. That was the first contribution from Juan Lucero, so unfortunate to see Arriola come out of this game. The blessing is for Lucero, and see what he can contribute.
Corona trying to contribute here into the box that it is cleared. Yeah, Lucero didn't take very long for him to make a little bit of a mark on this match.
First few touches, rather snazzy.
All right, nice. Club Tijuana now pushing forward, down a goal, trying to get back into it in front of their home crowd. Cleared away. So Tijuana will throw it in. Work it forward from the back line. They'll try the far side. Hurtado still kind of just gimping around up front. Tijuana looking around, trying to figure out who will be the player to try to level them up. On the other side, Necaxa happy if they're able just to lock this one down. A 1-0 victory here for the visiting team would be a massive 3 points on the season. They've played 5 matches. They only have 4 points.
Well, it follows the course that we talked about. They did not score at all in their opening 2 games. They've scored 1 goal exactly in each of their last 3. They're 1-1-1 in those 3 matches, making a winning record in the last 4. And again, following the course. A 1-goal output. But the way this evening's gone for Xolos could be enough for the visitors from Aguascalientes.
We have seen so many goals for Club Tijuana this year. If they are held scoreless at home, it would be chalked up as a little bit of a surprise. Still time to work with, though. Still time to level things up. Malcorra. Headed back towards the net and cleared. Tijuana knocking on that door. They have not been able to break through yet. Guido. Towards the box.
Lucero.
Now.
Well done, Mr. Lucero. Coming into this game and making an impact instantly. Interesting to see who the next man to be summoned off the bench will be, but the first one working like a charm. And not to say that Paul Arriola was having a poor game this evening by any stretch of the imagination. Thought he was one of the more imaginative presences out there for this Tijuana team, but Lucero has been exceptional since coming into this game a few minutes ago. It's a chance to equalize from the corner here for Tijuana.
Here is that corner. Into the box it goes, headed away once more. Who will come away with possession? It'll be the road team. Necaxa. They'll push forward near side. Beating one defender, Rodriguez not able to keep up. All this right in front of Miguel Herrera. Now they'll push it all the way back. No urgency offensively for the visiting side. They want to keep possession. Tijuana takes away that possession. Here they come. Malcora. Perez. Valenzuela. Far side. Estadio Caliente buzzing still despite the 1-0 deficit. Rodriguez. He'll come near side. Once again, Perez. Back to Rodriguez. Corona coming up for help. Instead, pass. It's going to be taken away.
Ooh.
And a tough challenge. Card definitely coming here. What color will it be? It will be yellow.
Jordan, I want to see this in the replay here. Victor Aguilera, might want to consider him a lucky man to still be on the pitch here. That is a two-leg wrap straight from behind against Claudio Riaño. I'd have no problem from any vantage point if Jorge Rojas whipped out the red card there. That is a dangerous tackle, and one that Riaño's got to feel real happy didn't do any serious damage. Aguilera coming straight in from behind, extremely late, and wrapping with that second leg. That's how you heard an opposing player. Not sure if Aguilera exactly knew what he was doing, but he put one into Riaño, the goal scorer for Necaxa this evening.
Now is Club Tijuana in a position where it has to worry about Necaxa just defending and trying to earn a counterattack, since they're trying to win through the wings, center the passes, looking for Malcora and the taller guys in the middle of the box. What should they change up?
Well, Evan, it's what they've been doing all night. I mean, the goal came from just a glimmer of individual brilliance. Yeah, it was a 1-2 between Riaño and Iturra, but Riaño was the star of the sequence, and it came, as you referenced, after a real silly miscue from Victor Malcora that gave away a throw-in, and the snap of a finger, Necaxa scored, and it was really their only serious scoring threat of this entire night. Other than that, they've been packing back. They've been parking the bus. They've been playing it safe. They've been playing to their strengths, you very much could say. And they knew they weren't going to come in here and go into a shootout with a team like Xolos and think they were going to come out on top. They knew what they had to do, and they wouldn't have been satisfied getting out of this game with a 0-0 draw. Instead, they've got one better, and they're just 14 minutes plus away from getting out of Estadio Caliente with all 3 points. This is going to be a real tough task for Xolos to break down this Necaxa back line that is evolving into a back 6, a back 7, a back 8 for manager Alfonso Sosa.
Yeah, and it just makes those missed opportunities early on for Club Tijuana even more frustrating, because now they're playing from behind. This is exactly what the visiting side wants. Tijuana, though, looking to level. Lucero makes one defender miss, now centers it back, but it is scooped up quite easily.
Just took it too far towards the byline there. Had a good thing going. Lucero has been dynamic since coming into this game. Ability to take on defenders. Got a bit of a lucky touch there, and it was a bit of a second lucky touch, but the thing wrapped off of his right foot. Did a good job to keep it in there, but heads up goalkeeping and a easy one in the end for Marcelo Balovero.
So a little bit less than 15 minutes to go, as Estadio Caliente gets cooler and cooler. More subs coming. This time it's going to be for the visiting side. Change won't be made quite yet, but he's ready to go on the side. Aguilera back towards the center. Here's Corona, makes his first defender miss. Far side, Lucero is available up front. Instead, they go back to Corona. Corona now finds Lucero, who quickly just touches it off to Hurtado, but Hurtado can't come away with possession. Another turnover. And quickly deflected out. Lucero playing good defense. But time is definitely the enemy at Club Tijuana at this point, and here comes the substitution for the visiting team.
Brian Bekeles coming into this game, a Honduran international, someone who U.S. fans may see up at Avaya Stadium in San Jose on March 24th, that critical World Cup qualifier that we referenced between the United States and Honduras. See a few players who played a part in this game, play a part in that match, the international level. The hexagonal resumes come late March. Coming out of this game, the left back, Jairo Daniel Gonzalez Fajardo. Decent performance this evening. Went toe-to-toe with Paul Arriola quite a few times. I think it's safe to say that in the matchup, kind of the best of five between 1v1 between Paul Arriola, the speedy right winger for Xolos for much of this game, and Jairo Gonzalez. Gonzalez may have come out on top for keeping score in that department. Either way you look at it, good night of service from number 26, and a little scuffle breaking out over on the far side. Jorge Rojas comes in to quickly put an end to it.
Yeah, frustration starting to boil over a little bit here for Club Tijuana. Complaints on both sides.
Edson Puch, the Chilean, talking it up with Valenzuela there. Let's see what happened here on this. Valenzuela takes elbow to the back of Puch on that play. Puch didn't like that very much. Gets up right away and lets him know it. Topo got away with one right there.
That was calculated. And he saw Puch turn back to see where he was. Topo comes in and says, "You don't need to look. I'll let you know where I am with this right here." Elbow to the back of the head, little shoulder to the high back area.
Lucero tried to come away with it, but lost possession. Tijuana need a couple of these passes to start connecting. Try to set something up. Valenzuela will send it back to the keeper. Aguilera. To Lahoud. And he'll just boom it forward. It stays with Tijuana. Rodriguez near side.
Good hold-up play there from Milton Caraglio, doing what he does best.
Perez to Corona. Corona with possession, now near side. Malcora. Corona. Plenty of space in the middle. And now trying to push it forward. That pass gets away, looking for Lucero.
Just a forced ball there from Topo Valenzuela. We're showing a lack of patience and representative of an overall feeling of frustration from this Xolos team. It was hard enough breaking down Necaxa when this game was 0-0. Just even harder now, and Topo Valenzuela just going for something far too direct and predictable. It was easy to defend. There is a man waiting on the touchline. It's a guy that we talked about. It's Matias Pisano getting ready to come into this game. We'll see who he replaces here in a few moments. Miguel Herrera still with 2 substitutions at his disposal, one more after Pisano enters the game.
Rodriguez was part of that earlier, and now Necaxa. But another turnover. Corona will push it forward. Here's Hurtado. We'll find out how his knees are feeling. Hurtado makes one defender miss. Knees look okay from here. Quite the run. Hurtado gets the shot off, and it's going to be deflected into the stands.
Oh, no deflection.
No deflection. It's going to be a goal kick. It was a good run.
Well, again, you see the defender play this perfectly. Carlos Hurtado tries to cut inside, go back out, forcing him just that little extra bit out to the left there is what forced that shot high and wide. It is going to be Victor Malcora withdrawn as Matias Pisano. Here's his name in the public address system here in Tijuana. See what Pisano can do to influence this contest. Doesn't need to be pretty at this point. Xolos need a goal. Need to at least get a point from this. A point would be disappointing in many ways, but soccer, the most circumstantial game on planet Earth at this point. Miguel Herrera be pleased with a point the way this thing has gone.
Yeah, less than 10 minutes to go. They would sign up for a point right now, I'm sure of it. Club Tijuana trying to get something going. They've had their chances. They've had their opportunities. But it's Necaxa pushing forward near side.
Burst of speed there from Ishihara. Damian Perez looked like he was beat. Did a great job fighting to get back. Talk so much about that term, the lung-busting runs of Paul Arriola at that right wing / right back position. Damian Perez, a man who does some very similar things just on the far left side for Xolos. About the energy that he puts in, the gas tank that he's got to have filled every game to go up and down that wing throughout an entire 90-minute spell. Great job getting back to win possession, but Necaxa are back with it now.
Fatigue starting to play a factor on both sides.
Good job there by Damian on cue. Sticking one there, getting all ball against Riaño, who scored that exceptional goal for Necaxa, the 65-minute mark. For a beautiful setup that he was a part of. The 1-2 with Manuel Iturra. Slotted at home past Lahoud.
Corona just flicked it forward to Perez. Perez back to Corona. Now Hurtado goes down. No whistle. Yes, there will be a whistle. We'll stop play. Maybe you're kind of used to the official saying just play on, play on.
Jorge Rojas wiping the sweat off his forehead there, saying, I'm not nervous. I've called a foul before. Not too many, but I've called them. Carlos Hurtado. Necaxa players left and right nipping at his heels all evening long. Aguilera gives this one back to the center to the Gopher.
So Club Tijuana trying to unlock the defense, trying to find some way to get through. Our pass forward. It'll be Tijuana possession. Hurtado's over there. Looks like another substitution could be coming up. Once again, it's the visiting side getting some instructions. Club Tijuana does not look like they'll make a change right now. Just a little bit more than 5 minutes left. Hurtado playing good defense and was able to get it deflected off of him. Necaxa. They'll throw it in right in front of their own bench.
One of their sub was ready. And then Alfonso Sosa, right as Necaxa got that throw, and Jorge Rojas looked over and said, "You ready for the sub?" And Sosa said, no, come back real quick. It's Maxi. Ready to come on down there. Maximiliano Barreiro. See who he replaces.
Making a run here, Rodriguez.
Got to be a handball.
Play on. Hurtado. Perez near side. Instead, Hurtado finds Lucero. Lucero dancing around in front of the box. He goes down. No whistle. Play on. Flicked into the box. Corona's there. And now the keeper will go down. An opportunity. Club Tijuana just firing off shots. They can't get it past the back line of defense.
This is absolutely incredible. What on earth happened to Marcelo Balovero? He's still down in a heap, holding his face. Necaxa are on the attack, Jordan.
On the other side with their keeper down, looking to double their lead. They do. It's 2 for the visiting team.
And it's Riaño again. Would you believe this? Absolutely unreal. Balovero is still down in a heap in his own goal mouth. Over at the other end, there's a group hug and a glorious celebration for the visitors from Aguascalientes. What a night for Claudio Riaño. You saw him leak away from Aguilera here, Jordan. He gets on the end of this. First time with the inside of his right foot. Manuel Lahoud is flat-footed as ever. Nothing that the Mexican goalkeeper could do for Club Tijuana on that occasion. The Argentine center forward says, I got one already. Let me net my brace. What a night for Riaño. And that could be curtains for Club Tijuana. But a scary sight way back in the Necaxa goal mouth as Balovero is still down. It's Riaño who's going to come off as the substitute being withdrawn for Maximiliano Barreiro. But Necaxa, they have to think about a goalkeeper replacement here, Jordan. I'm curious to see a replay. That frantic sequence that was happening with Xolos searching for the equalizer. And it looked like Balovero took a shot to the face, went down immediately, was then scrambling to get up, looking like he was at least half blind down there as he was moving around on his knees, and Xolos were frantically trying to get something in for an equalizer, and now Balavero is at least back up and getting some cold water to the face, but very curious to see a replay of that frantic sequence that then led just seconds later to Necaxa flying down the other way, and Riaño, who is now out of this game, netting the second goal for the visitors from Aguascalientes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a moment in this first half, Nate, where it looked like Hurtado was going to score the opening goal, and then he went down with an injury, and then neither happened. Here's the replay, and it's a hand to the face. Nothing too bad there. At least I'm not seeing it initially.
Looks like he poked his eye on that play. Lucero poked his left eye, so that's why he went down, grabbed the face right away, and stayed down.
No, we look at that, and some people might look at that on the replay and maybe have the idea of kind of mocking that, as it looked like almost a slap to the face of Balavero. Ivan, I think you nailed it right on the head there. I think the way that Lucero's hands came in as Lucero was kind of putting his hands up, charging in at full speed, I think a finger went straight into the eyeball of Balavero. He went down in a heap, and I wasn't joking. I said it looked like he was half blind as he was scrambling around, still rubbing his face. I think we got at least a bit of an explanation as to what happened there. That was one of the wildest sequences I have ever seen at this stadium, a stadium well known for its wild sequences. That was right there up with the best of them.
We went from Tijuana just firing off shots, looking to level things up with a injured keeper on the other side, and it turns into a 2-0 deficit for Club Tijuana.
With an injured goalkeeper rolling around on the ground with one working eye, and 5 seconds later it turns into being down 2-0.
He couldn't even celebrate because he couldn't see all the way down the pitch to see that they had scored. And it sends thousands to the exits here at Estadio Caliente. Looking to get a head start, now down by 2 with just a couple of minutes left here.
This is the scoreline of the only other Xolos loss this season. It looks like Alfonso Sosa is going to make his final substitution. The Necaxa manager. Look down and see number 9, Nicolas Maturana, coming into this game, being withdrawn for Necaxa. Number 11, Jesus Isihara, put in good service this evening.
Well, you never know what to expect when you show up. If you would have told me 2-0, likely would have been going towards the team that currently sits on top of the table, not the team that sits 15th and visiting.
That team that sits on the top of the table for how long now, as we go into a very intriguing weekend of Liga MX fixtures all around the country of Mexico. The 18-team league, 16 teams still to play Saturday and Sunday.
Just one match tonight, the featured match. And Club Tijuana at home. The home fans looking to celebrate. Looks like they'll have to find some other things to celebrate. As we are into injury time.
Five added minutes, Jordan.
With the injuries, the goals. Now, a 2-0 deficit for Club Tijuana is surprising. Hurtado's still in there past 90 minutes. You can count me as very surprised that happened.
Get a chance to see this sequence here again as we see the keeper go down. Caraglio has a rip. Guido Rodriguez has a rip. Cries for handball. Number of players on the ground. No nonsense defending in the end of it for Marcos Gonzalez. I think the Xolos players thought this thing was going to roll out for a throw. Not so fast.
And then this pass right here is perfect. On the money. Slip it into the corner.
What a finish in the end of that from Claudio Riaño. What a night. Is there any question of who the man of the match is here on this Friday night?
That shot needed pace. It needed accuracy. It had both.
The way he hit it with the inside of the foot, just absolutely nothing that Lahoud could do. Any goalkeeper sees that and just feels for him. Look out here, though. Xolos can get one back.
Space to work with. The shot deflected. Just going to miss.
Oh, what a save in the end
Team of the night.
What a save there from Balavero. And not sure how much of that he saw. See on the replay here. Just had a lot of knuckle on it, and he managed to just get up and get a right paw to it and put it out.
Hurtado swings it in, deflected right in front.
And look at Balavero get up and collect that thing. What a wild night for the man in the neon goalkeeper strip.
Neon seems to be a theme with the visiting side, whether it's the keeper or the cleats. Can they find a third? Here we go into the box, trying to beat his defender, keeping it alive. As we're just about 2 minutes into 5 minutes of stoppage time. Masacre still standing, still singing, still waving their red and black flags. Many fans still here, but most of them stunned at the outcome.
I was going to say, Jordan, the last time that Xolos lost a game, it was the season opener in this Clausura of 2017 on the road in the state of Michoacan. It's the Monarcas of Morelia. Final score in that game is 2-0.
Well, it took them a while to get back to that 2-0 deficit. But after 4 straight wins for Club Tijuana, it appears that streak's coming to an end tonight. Tijuana actually pick up possession here.
Henry Martin.
Martin to the right side. Now near side. Caraglio with a chance. He puts it in. Another stop in front of the net. Lucero with an opportunity right in front. It was deflected. It went into the stomach of the keeper. And once again, an opportunity with no goal for Club Tijuana.
Oh, Balavero just taking a wild swing at that one with his right foot, saying, get this thing out of here. It's too dangerous to grab. Get it going. What a night. What a last few minutes for Marcelo Balavero.
Just shocked that Club Tijuana do not have a goal tonight. With all the chances they've had, they've hit the post. They've had opportunities in front. Hurtado missed by inches early in this match. And somehow, Necaxa with the 2-0 lead with a little bit less than 90 seconds to go. The final touches ahead of us here. Maybe a third into the box. And this should go out for a goal kick.
You know, we talk about Xolos, how long they're going to be in first place with Toluca and Pumas sitting in second and third, respectively, on 10 points. Both of those teams playing later this weekend. The next match in Liga MX for Los Xolos Quintles of Club Tijuana. Martin may have an opportunity here.
Looks for Lucero, right side. Lucero puts it back into the net. They get one back. Time against them. They're running out of it, but they finally find a goal.
And it's Lucero, this first goal in a Tijuana uniform. Will it be too little too late? We're already talking about next weekend's fixture with Pumas in Mexico City. Is there still some late drama on this Friday night in Tijuana?
So we look at the replay here. Lucero able just to beat the keeper. Goes high and right. Blasted it into the back of the net.
Well, there's your answer to the drama.
Well, the final touch was a goal for Club Tijuana, but it's not enough. It's not a clean sheet. Nate, wrap it up for us. A 2-1 victory for the away team.
Man of the match, without a doubt, number 19, Claudio Riaño, the brace for Necaxa, the visitors from Aguascalientes, and they needed the second goal as Lucero ends up getting one back for Tijuana in the end of it. Again, Xolos will be on the road against Pumas next Sunday night. What a big win for Necaxa, a surprise smash and grab, 3 points for the visitors from Aguascalientes. A great performance from Alfonso Sosa's side. He's got to have a ear-to-ear grin on his face as his team heads back down south. Far different expression for Miguel Herrera after a disappointing match for the hosts here in TJ.